Ignorance is the fundamental cause of samsara or existence, but worldly desires are the fuel that perpetuates it. Therefore, we need to reduce our worldly desire by recognizing their faults. We do not have to run out ungroomed, uncared for, naked into the rain, into the mountains, and become unattached and renunciates. That's illogical, that's also extreme. We also should not cover ourselves in the lap of luxury and comforts and material possessions in order to get happiness. These are extremes. They cannot bear happiness. The only way to gain happiness is to realize that your mind has deluded you, has tricked you into believing that these things bring happiness. Whereas the actual happiness comes about by the destruction of the delusions themselves. Ignorance, hatred, and desire. When those delusions are rooted out and destroyed, then when you have possessions, when you have friends, when you have people, you are not attached, you will not act out of attachment. You do not have hatred, you will not act out of hatred. Then only can these objects be pleasant. Then only can these objects be pleasant. All great beings have been renunciates. Buddha or Jesus, all have been renunciates. They did not become renunciates because they were failure in business, or because they were low caste, or because they were unintelligent. Because they realized from the start that these transient, impermanent phenomenon or objects or things that we grasp our mind to, we think will bring us happiness, they realized early on it does not bring happiness. Therefore, they have taught a doctrine according to time, environment, culture, and situation. So in fact, root out those three delusions. When this thought arises clearly and definitely, in our mind, we meditate on it for as long as possible until this thought comes. The way to separate yourself from delusions and these states of mind is to start thinking, contemplating, meditating, analyzing their faults and the unhappiness they have already brought you. By thinking about it again and again and again and contemplating on again and again and again, a logical mind, a sane mind will clearly see the faults. And therefore, you can slowly release yourself and become detached to it. Like someone who is an alcoholic and thinks and contemplates on the disbenefits of alcohol on his or her body, on disharmony of the family, the wastage of money, time, energy. Again and again and again, they think about it, contemplate again and again. Finally, slowly, they reduce drinking step by step by step by step by step. Finally, they don't drink it. Finally, later, even the smell does not bother them anymore. The only way to get out of these type of sufferings is a wholesome, undivided, sincere effort to root out these delusions. If these are not rooted out, then all the extensions of these delusions, such as anger and fighting, disputes, jealousy, and in turn the 10 non-virtuous acts of lying, divisive talk, schism, idle gossip, killing, stealing, sexual misconduct, etc., will arise spontaneously. You commit it, again karma will arise. That karma is collected, stuck with your mind, and then at the correct situation and time, that karma will fruition into a certain type of suffering. It's all very logical. So therefore, it behooves us to fight the real enemies, to devote our time to the real object of pleasure and lasting happiness. We can have families. We do not all need to be monks and nuns, or celibates, or hermits, or yogis. We can have our normal families, we can have our normal situations, but realize the state, realize the situation you're in, and mentally detach, mentally let go. It doesn't mean, goodbye wife, I'm going to go meditate, I'm detached. No, not that. Mentally become less attached to it. Therefore, the 10 non-virtuous actions do not arise or become less, and therefore negative actions become less. Therefore, negative results and sufferings decrease and eventually is annihilated. You must do it. You must start the battle. You must put your time toward it. If you say you don't have time, you have business, you have commitments, you have engagements, well, if you don't do it, you have skipped the opportunity again. And do not think that it's so easy to get a future human life with the opportunities you have now. The 5 senses intact, a good human body, healthy, basically healthy, intellect, in a good country such as this, with good food, clean environment, teachers, the doctrine. Again, how do you know you'll meet across that again? Do you have control over where you're going to take your new rebirth? How do you know you can come across these situations again? How do you know? If you're born into a situation that you cannot handle, away, what will you do? When we look on the street, we see someone blind. Christmas, when we're walking around, we see people at the mall blind, sitting there with a cup. We have pity and compassion. That could be potentially us. We see someone crazy walking outside in the rain, no home, homeless. We feel compassion and pity, most of us. That can be us. We see someone in the hospital dying, very sick, not responding to medicine, unhappy, fearful. That can be us. We see someone growing old, losing their capacity. That can be us. We see someone young getting into accident, dying. That can be us. We see someone losing business. That can be us. We see someone having disharmony, breaking up in their marriage, unhappy, committing suicide. That can be us. We see our kids do opposite of what we want. That can be us. Yet we sit and hope out of a 1,000,001 chance that everything will be alright. We sit there and hope because we see no other way. We have not been taught or conditioned another way. It is not that you are all stupid or unintelligent. It is the conditioning of previous lives up to now. For an alcoholic to get rid of his alcohol, drinking, depends on the length of time that he's been drinking. Just an example. If he's been drinking for a long time, of course, it will be very difficult to stop. If he's been drinking for a short time, it'll be easier in most cases. Like that, since we've been delighting in shouting at people, idly gossiping, fighting, killing, deliciously swallowing fruits of other people's labor, such as plundering them, stealing from them. Since we've been doing this in this life alone, naturally and spontaneously, no one teaches us not to steal. No one has to teach us not to steal, not to lie, not to shout, not to be mean to people. We do it naturally, with no effort, and with a lot of joy and excitement. In fact, we make a big show out of it. But to be positive, kind, compassionate, to have good speech, not to lie, not to kill, to be honest in business, etc., we have to be told, we have to be taught, and some of us browbeaten. And some of us browbeaten 2 or 3 times. Therefore, it shows that our mind has been conditioned, and our mind is used to operating on that kind of basis. Whether it's that extreme or not, I don't mean all of us are like that. But definitely we are conditioned. Not from only this life. Because certain kids are born with a tendency to kill, to lie, to steal, to have a bad character. Some are exactly the opposite. Where did that come from? Certainly the parents teach them the best they can, and most parents that are good should produce good children, but it's the opposite. Naturally, they do negative things. We're not scolding our kids because they're doing wonderful things. Where did that habit come from? From previous lives that go back thousands and thousands and thousands. Innumerable. That we have been used to doing it. Used to. Therefore now it comes very naturally. Some of us will ride a bicycle with no hands. Some of us need both hands. Some of us need training wheels. It's a matter of being used to it or not used to it. Like that. Like dirty water. Its nature, the water's nature is not dirty. It is temporarily polluted by dirt, which can be removed. When the dirt is removed, the water is clean again. That shows that the water's nature is clean. It is clean. If it is not clean by its nature, no matter what you do to clean it, it will remain dirty. Like that, the mind is temporarily stained. How fast or how much you can remove is dependent on how dirty that water is. For your mind, how much it's been conditioned. It can be removed. You are not hopeless. You are salvageable. I am salvageable. I am not hopeless. Therefore, you can become enlightened. And it is up to you to do it. You cannot kill, steal, hurt, at the moment of death, regret, and then you go to heaven. It's not logical. It's not fair. And if I get up there, I'll have a word or two with them. At the same time, you cannot be doing good things your whole life. And then at the moment of death, you regret it, and then you go to hell. When I get down there, I'll have a word with them. And I'm sure I'll be down there. In any case, it's not logical. Salvation or freedom is in you. It is in your hands. It is in your capacity. Whether you enact it or do it, it is within your own hands. It's whether you want to do it or not. If you do not want to do it, be prepared for the consequences. Be prepared. It's like I said yesterday, if you're very sick and you do not want to get medical treatment, yes, it's scary to go to the hospital, get poked, cut, examined, x-rayed, filled up with medicines like a guinea pig. But how scary would it be if you don't go and the result of the disease comes?